I have got some tremendous information for you. Let me set this up. All right? I've got a brochure that you can have absolutely free. My dear friends, it has been almost 6 years since the death of former President Ronald Reagan. When President Reagan died, it reminded Americans about the devastating disease known as Alzheimer's. The president wrote a letter to the country dated in 1994, which included these words, quote, "Unfortunately, as Alzheimer's disease progresses, the family often bears a heavy burden. I only wish there was some way I could spare Nancy from this painful experience." Kilborn and Tully, Dan is in the studio with me, and I'll tell you, he has prepared, I've never seen one like it, the plain truth about Alzheimer's disease and the 9 steps you need to take right now to care for your loved one and to protect your family's finances. Dan, good morning.
Good morning, Brad.
Boy, I have to say congratulations. When I heard you were coming on, you and Dean Kilborn, you do such a tremendous job. And I know you're going to get a lot of calls, but let's go through some of this. I've got some questions. And any of you out there that have parents that suffer from Alzheimer's, you never know. But we have got some information this morning that is critical, and you will be able to call in, and we'll send it to you absolutely free. Dan, you don't think of Alzheimer's as a disease, but that's what it really is. Explain that.
Well, it's an illness that antibiotics can't cure, surgery can't cure, and unfortunately our loved ones will end up dying from it. It's a slow, progressive erosion of memory and function that affects not only the senior, but also their family. But there are so many things that can be done, and with early detection, which medical science allows us now to target this earlier, there are so many different things that families can do to protect their loved ones and to protect their lifetime of savings.
How should families react if they suspect their loved one has Alzheimer's or is getting forgetful?
Well, years ago, people used to say, well, they're just getting senile or they're getting forgetful. We call that as not putting on your happy face and really dealing with the issue. It's not easy. It's not easy to face the fact that our loved one may have dementia or Alzheimer's. And if we're able to tackle this from a whole family perspective and go out and seek the help, and that's what we talk about in the 9 steps in our booklet, about how it's important that we get informed right away and we start seeking out support groups and contacted the Alzheimer's Association. There's so much help in the community. There's been so many advances in the areas of medication that can delay the progression of Alzheimer's, and it helps families out so much to follow these 9 steps. This has been done before, Brad. We've taken families through the steps, and there's ways in which they can not only protect their loved one, but they can protect their home and their finances, too.
20 minutes before 9, 8:40. Let's go through the 9 steps. And again, my dear friends, this is the first time. This is why I have so much respect for Dean Kilborn and Dan Tully. They're elder law attorneys. They've had a special program for veterans. Dean had to go to school so he could be certified. And Dan and Dean are right on top of all this. And I'm so happy that they put this together for families, because you never know. Step number 1, become informed. Become informed. Step number 2, contact nearest chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Step number 3, consider joining a support group. Step number 4, discuss the situation and your feelings. Step number 5, schedule a doctor's appointment. Step number 6, talk to your doctor about other matters. Step number 7, meet with an experienced elder law attorney. And I've got one right here for you. And step number 8, set up an action plan. And finally, step number 9, relax. How long did it take you to put this? I'm going to give the telephone number so people can start calling for this. This is a fabulous. You know, you've done a lot of great things for my audience, Dan, you and Dean, but this is just so complete. And it is, let me just tell you, it's well produced, and it's how many pages? 16 pages long.
16 pages, but there's a lot of information in there, Brad. What we really want your listeners to understand is if they're going through this, they're not alone. They don't have to go it alone. We've been down this road many times before, and we're able to point families in the right direction to protect their loved one. And it doesn't mean that they're going to have to go into a nursing home. There's ways in which they can try to stay independent, stay in their own home. But if we address it early, but even if you haven't, if it's in the later stages, if it's a crisis, there still are so many things that can be done to protect families, to protect your loved ones, and have them live with dignity, as President Reagan did for all of his years.
Yes, he did. Okay, now I'm giving you a toll number, okay, toll-free number here, and you call this number and just tell the operators that are standing by that you want the booklet, and it's a large booklet, The Plain Truth About Alzheimer's Disease that Brad Davis and Dan Tully are talking about on the radio. We want you to get this into your home, and you can call now. Here is the telephone number, toll-free, 1-888-583-8838. You got that? 1-888-583-8838. Just call Kilborn and Tully and tell them you want the booklet that has been produced, beautifully produced by Dean and Dan, for you, just for you, absolutely free. But get it in your family's hands so that if anything down the road happens and you notice little signs, that you will have a background. And, of course, Dan and Dean are always available to you. 1-888-583-8838. Call and ask for the book that Brad Davis and Dan Tully have been talking about. When did you and Dean come up with this idea?
We've been working on this for years, Brad. We have another booklet that we had put out years ago, and this is kind of updating it. It's years of experience of working in the area of elder law. We've been at it for over 20 years now. And we just want families to know sometimes it's important just to sit down and to be able to read something and realize there are options available to you. Part of what we do when we send this booklet out, we also have a free consultation form where people can speak to us, because sometimes they're afraid to speak to an attorney. But it's important that they get this information.
You'll do this. You'll have a free consultation.
It's right
Valerie does.
Right inside the booklet, they'll get that.
Oh, isn't
and it's
that
important that we get that out to the families so they know there's help and there's options. One of the things that we often talk about is the caregiver and how important it is for the caregiver to be careful of their own health, and they don't always realize
that's what the former president was worried about, Nancy.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of caregivers understand the stress that they're under, because if you're submersed in it 24/7, you don't understand the stress and the pressure, and the health of the caregiver oftentimes breaks down. And there are respite care programs. There's ways in which you can get relief. There's the veterans program that we've talked about so many times.
Absolutely. Ask you about
that. And it could be the widow of a veteran too. So there are programs, there are help in the community, and people just need to make that call, and we can point them in the right direction and right down the right path to helping.
1-888-583-8838. Just call now and ask for the booklet on Alzheimer's, beautifully prepared by Dan Tully and his friend Dean Kilborn. Great elder law attorneys. They get right down with the families. That's what I love about them. Come out to your house if you need that, and you'll get a free consultation. 888-583-8838. I want to ask you about the veterans. I remember when we had a seminar on that. Remember when you guys came in here, the reaction, I understand, was tremendous.
It was tremendous, and it's important that veterans understand that they have options available to help them stay independent and stay in their home. It's disturbing if we know there are veterans out there that could benefit from this program, and they think they may have too much and in the form of assets or too much in the form of income. And that's not necessarily the case. We've had so many veterans that have been able to use it to pay for home care, assisted living.
Really?
And sometimes between your income, the veterans program, and maybe some of these other Title 19 programs that are available, individuals really don't have to dip into their principal at all. And this can help oftentimes with families who have Alzheimer's.
Now, Dan, Dean took some special courses to be certified.
He's a certified veterans benefit attorney, and we're proud to have him on our staff and to be my law partner, and he does a tremendous job advising so many of the veterans here in the state.
Well, you guys have developed something, and I'm just very, very proud that you're part of my program and have been for a long time. We've worked together, and that's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. It's the people out there that need that hand. Toll free, 888-583-8838. As I said, call now if the lines are busy. Just keep trying so that we can get this plan out to you. The plain truth about Alzheimer's disease and the 9 steps you need to take right now to care for your loved one and to protect your family's finances. How long have you guys been together?
We've been practicing our firm has been together for over 20 years. And we were fortunate to take over the law firm of Judge Robert Maynard in Bristol. Yes. He was a probate judge for a long time, who was a Purple Heart veteran who was wounded in Normandy. He has a lovely family, and we were fortunate to be able to take over his firm. But now we've expanded to Glastonbury and also North Haven, so we have the 3 offices around the state to service so many seniors in the state that we're fortunate enough to represent.
You know, and you have made elder law so personal. I mean, the veterans. And I mean, I get so concerned. I'll never forget the day you came in here, and nobody knew about the program. Nobody knew that veterans could get money, but certainly you made it happen, and now you've got this on Alzheimer's. And the reason I like this is because it could hit any family, and you never know.
If it can hit the President of the United States, it can hit any family. And like we indicated earlier, Brad, it's important if we feel our loved one is forgetful. We have to deal with the situation. We can't just say it's getting old. It's important to think about it and address it and get expert advice.
Kilborn and Tully, great attorneys, elder law, 888-583-8838. Just ask for the booklet. Dan, it's always great to see you. Give my best to Dean.
It's my pleasure to be here, Brad.
And we'll talk to you soon.